What's up folks, Mad Seedling here once again. I just got the Roland SP404 MK2 and I wanted to go over some of my favorite things about this new device. Let's jump in. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is, of course, probably the most noticeable thing, which is the amazing new screen. You can see right now it's on the screensaver, which is this cool, it'll like flash around geometric objects and stuff like that. But when you're actually using it, the screen shows everything you need. Before, on the old SP404, it would just show you a really rudimentary sort of 3 letters, reflecting what the parameter is that you're editing, and it just wasn't very clear most of the time. You sort of just learned as you went along, or you had to reference the manual. In this case, everything is so very clearly laid out. Like, for example, the filter and drive. I've got my cutoff. It shows me exactly what my hertz is. I have a resonance number. I have another page with other things on it as well that I can change. And these settings are saved even after you turn off the device and turn it back on again. So the screen is fantastic. Really, really cool stuff, and it's so good that the MFX are all just labeled here. You don't need to have them listed on the side. They're all just sort of here for your reference whenever you need them. So yeah, the screen is definitely one of the best parts of this SP404 MK2 upgrade. Okay, number 2, the new effects. The new effects are fantastic. If you hold MFX down, you can see that they're basically 1 through 8 are basically most of the new effects anyway. Scatter is a really cool effect. It sort of adds like a random sort of glitchy tape stop sort of thing, almost like what DJ Effects Looper does, but randomly. And there's like 10 different patterns that you can use. Downer is sort of a pitch shifter. Hadu, Kodama, Zanzu, and Toguro are all sort of different delays or filters. Toguro will actually shift down, pitch shift down as well if you want, or it'll just act like a filter, sort of like a filter sweep, like a wah. But those are the main effects. A lot of them are delays, and they're really cool. Kodama especially is like a stereo effect delay, which I find particularly cool. It's sort of like a ping pong thing. Really, really cool stuff. The stopper is one of my favorite new effects. It adds a tape stop. Here, let's check it out. Super cool. And you can have it take effect at different lengths as well. Like, check this out. I'll have it do a quarter note. Maybe you don't want to use as much as that, but it's a really cool effect. And add it like once at a really cool time in the song, and it adds it's really cool. Try it. Cassette sim is a spectacular new effect. You can change the hiss and the tone, and if you have them both on 100 and you roll this knob back, it adds like a reverse cymbal sweep, which is really sweet. Check this out. And you can add that in going into snares or going into the next bar. It's a really cool effect. Okay, moving on. The next really cool thing about the SP404 MK2 are the new pads. So pads 1 through 16 and the sub pad are not like the old SP404 pads. They're more like a typical drum pad that you would see on another device. Whereas these ones on the side, they're clicky, right? They're buttons. Whereas these are true pads. Now they're actually much more playable than they were in the previous SP404 models, because they behave more like a pad that you'd be used to on other devices like an NPC or something like that. So the new pads are really, really cool. They also light up with different colors. Really, really great upgrade compared to the previous pads. Way more playable, and there's 16 of them now, which is just fantastic. It's really cool. Really, really great pads. Great upgrade. Much needed upgrade on the SP404 MK2. Okay, next, the new I/O. This might be a small thing, but I think it's really, really cool. They added a 3.5mm headphone jack here, which is how I'm actually recording out right now to my Zoom H1. And you don't need to carry around a 1/4-inch dongle adapter anymore. You can just plug into the 3.5mm. And on the back, it's all 1/4-inch now, no more RCA. So it's all 1/4-inch stuff, which is great. And of course, it has USB-C, which is spectacular. You can power it from USB-C, and it's also how you can connect it to your computer to throw samples and songs on there. Okay, next is the latency. So this has 16 gigabytes of internal memory, and that's what I've been using primarily since I've gotten it. I've loaded all my stuff onto the internal memory as opposed to the SD card, and I found there is no latency. And this is one of the advertised effects of having the internal memory, but the latency is gone. And on my old SP404, which is SP404A, when I loaded from the SD card, which was the only option for that device, and I used the isolator, and really noticed it with the isolator more than anything, there'd be a delay before the effect would be applied, and it was really annoying to the point where I felt you had to be early on your effect toggling, and that was really annoying. But with the SP404 Mark II, those latency problems are gone, and it's spectacular. Okay, last but not least, you can reassign the effects on these 5 buttons here. So filter, drive, resonator, delay, isolator, and DJ effects looper can all be changed. So the resonator, for instance, I never really quite found a use for the resonator, and even on the previous iterations of the SP404, the button that was here, which was like voice trans, I think it was called, I just never found a use for it when I was performing live. But now you can hit shift and EFX setting, scroll to the end, and you can change what you've got here. So I've changed filter and drive to be the super filter because I find it behaves more like the filter on the original SP404, which I prefer. And the resonator I've changed to be the cassette sim. It's a really cool effect and one that I want to have handy a lot, so I've added it here to the resonator. Thanks for watching, folks. That's been my favorite things about the SP404 Mark II. Now stay tuned. I'm going to make a video about the things I don't like about this device. Nothing is perfect, including the SP404 Mark II. Stay tuned for that. Cheers.